Welcome back to Bayona's RC World, and today is part 6 of the Top Flite Cessna 182 build series. Alright, so here in part 6 we're going to continue on. Alright, so if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe to the channel. And if you are subscribed to this channel, I really appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. And sit back, relax, enjoy the video, and let's get building. Alright, so I got my string so I can pull the light through the wing panel once this is all sheeted, so it's running all the way through just like so, and coming out through the front. Alright, so we got that going on. Now what we need to do is situate the strut, which is this one right here, to kind of match the curvature of that sheeting there. That way I can epoxy that straight down just like that, and epoxy it to the side of W6 rib. Alright, and same with this side over here. I also tapered that, so I already made a mark, so that's gonna get epoxied just like so. And once the epoxy is dried, to locate the block from underneath, we're gonna pre-drill a pilot hole, 1/16 hole straight in the center of that block, straight down. All right, so it'll come out through the bottom of the sheeting. So once this wing is all completed, everything is sheeted, and we're already about to cover or something, you can easily locate that block. See, I almost messed up on that one. I accidentally placed it on this rib. So yeah, I had it correct here. It's on the last W6 rib, the inboard side. So that's it right there. And then I was panning this way, and I noticed, I was like, whoa, wait a minute. It's a good thing that the epoxy is 30 minutes, so it still had, I said, a long time. So I was able to remove it from there and relocate it there. Yep, so what we're doing right now is making the flap hinge blocks, cutting it out from this material right here, or the shape of balsa. Alright, and then we're going to cut 4 1.5 inch long pieces, and then 2 1-inch pieces. Alright, so it's all been cut. So they're installed just like that. So that's one flap. You got 3 hinges. Also here, you got 3 hinge blocks. My T-bar sander is all ready with the new sandpaper on there. And so what we're going to be doing now is getting the wing all sanded. And then we're going to be removing all the wing jigs, and then we're going to sand the top of the ribs and everything to make sure that there's no excess like epoxy drips like that, or high spots from the tabs and stuff like this. So everything is going to get all sanded nice and smooth to accept the top sheeting. So once we do that, once everything is done, before we can even put the top sheeting, we have this wing jigs. Alright, you probably can see it here in the photo. But these this jig, basically what it's gonna do, it's gonna raise up the wing, at the same time locking it in place. So we got the trailing edge jig already in place. It's not tack glued on there, so you know, because I'm not ready for that yet. We got the front jig, alright, and then we got the two wingtips. This is the one that's gonna go tack glued right at W14 rib. Alright, so it's gonna go right about here, just like so. Okie dokie. So we gotta take care of this flap before we actually seal or continue on with the top sanding and preparing for the top wing for sheeting. Gotta make sure we locate this now, otherwise it'll be difficult to do once we sheet this whole wing. Alright, so what we gotta do is mark the location of the flap front leading edge area right here, and the back of the aft spar of the flap or the main wing. Alright, so to do that, just get a piece of wire and just kind of line it up at the corner and just kind of drill it down and out. So that's one, and then we're going to do the front, same angle, and just drill it out. Two, and we're going to do that each corner of the flap. So we'll do another one here at this corner of the flap, following that, and following that. Alright, now I want to make sure, so I'll also do the middle, just so we know when we put the straight edge there that is the front side. So when you flip the wing over, alright, you got those marks. Alright, so those marks, now you can put your straight edge from this tip, or from that mark to that mark, and then you can actually cut this sheeting off and expose the ribs underneath. So just like that, so we got the bottom of the flaps exposed, so that when the top sheeting is on, we can still be able to cut the flaps free from the structure. All right.
When I'm lonely in the dark, I know you are with me, yeah. Don't you see that I need you so much?
grab this sanded wing, take her outside, grab the air compressor, and blow out all the sanding dust inside the wing itself before we put the sheeting on. Alright, so we got the top sheeting all ready, all sanded just enough. Alright, so I also indicated in, as in that's going to be the one in the inside, this is the outside. Alright, so let's grab the wing and let's get the top wing sheeted. Alright, so I just went ahead and installed the jig for this wing, and just wanted to show that everything has points of contact. So you got two up front, you got wingtip, back end,
Here and they won't find us where we are going, dear. So baby, each other high, but we fall 1,000 times. But I'd never say goodbye or ever leave this stuff behind. When it's good, it's amazing. When it's bad, it's uneasy. I wouldn't have it another way. There's no other way, yeah. When it hurts like this, never like, never like, never like, never like, never like, never like, when it hurts like this, never like, never like, never like, never like, never like, when it hurts like this.
Now we're gonna go ahead and start on the right, or as a matter of fact the left, since we are right side up. How do I get the front end nice and tight? Basically the sheeting nice and tight up on there on the leading edge without any gaps. This is how I did it. Alright, so you take your sheet that eventually you edge glue together. So I'm placing it on top. I'm going to use the leading edge of this sheet and put it against the leading edge of the wing. Alright, now if you notice, the rib kind of curves inwards, right? So you want to also try to follow that. So I kind of lift up the sheeting, kind of tuck it in there like that, you know, and then from there I just lay it back down. That way you make sure that all the sheeting is actually pushed forward, because if you just go like this, all right, and you cut it, and then now it's time for you to push it down. Look at that gap. You got a gap now. All right, so you got to make sure first of all that you are all the way in there. All right, then push it down, make sure it stays. All right, this is where tape also helps out. And so I normally use tape like in pretty much everything I do. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll put tape up front just like this, and then I will dig that front end of the sheeting really into that groove of the rib and the leading edge. Then I'll kind of pull on this tape, kind of pulling the sheeting really tight against that leading edge. And there you go, that's one. And do the same thing here. Push it as tight as you can without breaking the sheeting too, so be careful. Alright, and then pull the tape and kind of tuck that in there. So while I'm pulling the tape, it's pulling the sheeting really tight against this leading edge. Alright, so from that cut where it angles back, alright, the sheeting is going to overlap on top of that leading edge. So what I want to do is make sure that everything is going to lay naturally. We're not fighting everything, trying to twist the sheeting. Just let it flow naturally to the back. Alright, I'm not worried about this yet, because this we're going to trim to match the center sheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this down just to kind of hold this in place. Alright, and then you're going to flip your wing upside down. Alright, while still holding onto your sheeting, go ahead and mark your trailing edge, right, and the wingtip area. Now we're upside down. Alright, now you see where your leading edge is at. That's your leading edge front. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep the sheet pushed up against that leading edge, just like that, and I'm going to mark right at that front portion of that leading edge. Right? So right there, right where that sheeting or the leading edge ends. kind of right there. So in between the 2 tick marks. Alright, so that will be where that front end is going to get cut. Remove the tape, remove the front sheeting, or just the top sheeting. I mean. Alright. Now we marked that center piece right here where the leading edge was cut and bent. Alright, so I made that mark, I scribed that mark, I just transferred it from that leading edge to the front edge of that sheeting. Now what I'm going to do is transfer it to the bottom side, just at the tip. Alright, so now you got that tip and your mark that you did earlier. Alright, so now what we're going to do is take the long edge ruler, or a long ruler, and we are going to make that cut. Now we got that that tick mark we made from the front right here, the center, which is this piece. And when we flip the wing upside down, that tick mark that we made earlier. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I am not gonna go exactly. I'm gonna kind of give it about a 1/16 of an inch forward of that mark. Alright, so I'm just going to go 1/16 of an inch forward. Because you got to compensate for that curvature of the rib. Alright, so I'm just going to give it, push it forward just a little bit. And then from there, we're going to make the cut. I normally like to do very light cuts first. Even this is a brand new blade, but I'm just gonna do very light cuts. I don't want to try to do it one pass. That way we know it's nice and clean all the way through, just like that. Just save that material. All right, and so then. Remember when we did the made a mark on the trailing edge and the wingtip? Alright, so instead of cutting it directly at that mark you made, give it about 1/4 of an inch, and we can trim this out later. So 1/4 of an inch past that mark, and that's where you make your cut. That way you have room to really taper this thing in there, just in case it's a little off. And then same thing with the wingtip. I normally just about 1/4 out is good. The wingtip was really not gonna do much. All right, so we made that cut. Make sure we have enough excess from the mark I just said earlier. When you cut the trailing edge, give it about, I don't know if you can see it, my scribe marks, give it about a little bit about over a 1/4 on here, and just a little bit on that. Alright, so this is your actual trailing edge mark, and this is how much we cut. Alright, so now we made all that cuts. So what we're going to do from here, I'm going to go ahead and sand that leading edge of the sheeting, maybe about a 30-degree bevel, just like that. And do the same with the front edge. Alright, we're just gonna give a slight bevel. It doesn't have to be a drastic bevel, just really shallow. Alright, so now we're gonna, if you got your measurements right, you got your cuts right, this should go on without a problem. You should be able to just slide this thing on and have no gaps whatsoever. It'll be perfect. Now that's in a perfect world, right? Well, take your time, do it right. Don't have to do it again. Alright, so here we go. We take our sheet we dig it down into that front rib, right, into that main row, button it up against the leading edge, right there, just like so. Now we take our tape. Remember, I like tape. Tape is my extra hands, and it'll hold everything in place. So I'll kind of put my tape here, maybe about here. I know right here for a fact, right in the center, and then eventually we'll start going further out, you know, as we progress. So we got our tape. Now, once again, dig it down into that rib, into the leading edge. Now use the tape and pull it to get it nice and tight. Same thing with this. Make sure it's down and touch it, laying on those ribs. All right, and then pull that tape. Same with this. Pull the tape. While you're pulling the tape, you're pulling the sheeting really tight against that leading edge. All right, make sure that leading edge is, I mean that sheeting too is also touching the rib. It's actually laying on that rib. All right, make sure it's not free floating up in the air. Because if that's the case, when you come time to glue it, that sheeting is not going to be touching no ribs. Alright, and then do the same thing with the end. Alright, so there you go. That's how I get a tight joint up front on the leading edge with the sheeting. Alright, there you go. No gaps whatsoever. Nice and straight. That's nice and straight. And from here, you can just lightly push onto your sheeting and just watch it just relax and fall into play. All right. Hopefully it helps somebody out there. So once again, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure slowly now push it down, just like so. Just let it naturally flow. All right, and then from here we're gonna this is where we're gonna now trim this root end right here. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put tape just to hold it there. Make sure everything is nice and tight. All right. Now, what I'm gonna do is where the sheeting is at, make sure everything is nice and tight, touching the sheeting, touching the ribs, right? Because you don't want it up like this, and then you make that cut, and then when it's time to actually push the sheet down, your cut's off again. So make sure everything is nice and tight. It's actually pressed in to the ribs, especially in this end. All right, and then from there, just go ahead and mark where the center sheeting ends, and eventually we know that right here at this root is the end of this. Alright, so what we're going to do now is just basically remove the sheeting again, and then we're going to take the ruler and we're actually going to cut that right where we just made the mark. I'm using my sanding blocks to kind of push down my sheeting, and that's because I don't want to use my hands. Alright, so the straight T-bar is ensuring that I'm getting proper pressure on a bigger surface than it is just my hand. Because if I was to use my hand, if let's say there was a soft portion of the sheeting, I might accidentally crack it, you know, by pushing my hand in there. But if you're using something flat where the distribution of force is greater and, you know, nice and flat, there won't be that chance that you bust a hole through your sheeting. All right, and so at the same time too, it makes sure that your sheeting is not warped, you know, because you're putting different type of pressure and making it stick down. All right, so it gives you that opportunity to ensure that your sheeting is nice and straight. So that's a few tips on how I do that. Take it how you will, use it how you will. If it helps, great. If you got something better, awesome, because you know that's one thing about this hobby. It's just all about learning, adapting, and then learning more, because no matter how long you've been doing this hobby, there's always something new that you can learn. The light set until later. Unfortunately, I already had covered, sheeted the top and bottom wing, and I already had installed the wing tip blocks, and I really wanted to add in the light set. If you really look down into the wing, if you were following the build, you notice that in the inside, the front side of the wing, this rib goes all the way down to the center of the wing. Alright, so it's not impossible to see. There you go. That is all the way to the center of the wing. So if you just imagine you had the wingtip on, all you had to do was drill a hole on your wingtip block. So your wingtip would be like right here, coming up around, for example, like that. So just basically kind of get that idea of where that opening is at. It really doesn't matter if you drilled right here, as long as it's the hole's big enough so you can stick your wire through. Then it's gonna be a pain in the rear, but it's not impossible. You can still fish your wire through that front of the rib and fish it all the way through the wing itself. Especially if you had like a long piece of hard wire to tie your the lights to the end of it, and kind of use it as a probe to push it through. It's not going to be one of those easy tasks, but it's not impossible. And if you already have a built-up wing and you want to install the lights after, it still can be done. Just remember the makeup of the internal portion of the wing. So you got your ribs, all the ribs from W14 all the way up to the wing root, all the way into the actual center section is all open. Alright, so it's not impossible. So I would just drill the I would just drill right at that wing block, right up front, kind of right where it kind of humps up like that. Anywhere within this area, if you drill your hole through that wing block, and you can shove your wire in, stand the wing up vertical so that your wire, you can feed it straight down, and you're just gonna have to kind of like fish it through. It's gonna be like I said, it's not gonna be one of those you just stick the wire in and it goes all the way to the center of the wing. You're gonna have to kind of fish it through, find like a long piece of wire. I got a piece of wire up there like that, something that long, and kind of use that to guide your LED wire through. You're gonna have to make a hole for your light, your wire, to run through and come out of the center section. The problem is when you get to about here on your wing, you got to remember that the rib, W2 rib, is right here, and it's a solid piece because of the dowel that runs through. So W2 rib is solid, and then you got your W1 rib right in the center, which is open, but then the other side is also solid, W2. And then you cannot pass your spar because you got your shear webs right in between, and then you got your dihedral brace right smack there. So to get your wire from the front leading edge to the back, you're not gonna be able to do that if your wing is already built up. All right, so unless you want to go ahead and put your light smack in the center of the wing block, like right here, and if you want to put your LED instead of the wingtip but right in the center, then you got a better shot going straight in, and then you still can access the wire when you're fishing it through the aileron bay and the flap servo bay. Cut the inner portion of the aileron to match the flap, so now I'm going to cut the outer aileron portion based off of the wingtip. And when I cut this mark, I'm going to actually cut it 1/16 in off of this mark. Alright, that's good enough for me.
I'm on my own, broken alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. I'm searching for the lost and found, but you.
Alright, so basically what I'm going to do is just place this thing on the wingtip onto the wing, just temporarily, just to double check my cut. Alright, and as you can see, that's where we're at on that wingtip. Alrighty, so we already got the ailerons, we got the wingtips, we got it roughly shaped. It's not final. It's not even attached. It's not even glued on yet. It's just taped on. I'm gonna get ready too. So now what we got to do is the flaps. And so we're looking directly into the flap slot that we made prior to sheeting the top of the wing. We're gonna see the. And this is the reason why I highlighted those tabs or those marks when we had in the beginning of the wing build, where I was separating the ribs from the sheets. And this is the reason why I took the pen and highlighted those areas, because things like this, if you didn't have that mark in there, you're gonna have, and it's, you know, kind of dark or whatever, or you can barely see it, it's gonna be a little tough. So for this, you're gonna stick a wire down into there, in between both lines. So I don't know if you can see that right there, but in between both lines right there. And then I'm gonna just basically puncture the top sheeting with this. Alright, so there you go. That's all the way in there. Alright, now I'm gonna do the other side. And then once I'm done with doing that, I'm gonna flip the wing back over. I'm gonna draw the line from those puncture marks, and then I'm gonna cut, and that will basically release the top sheeting, and then from there we'll go back in, and that line right there, we'll take the X-Acto blade and cut each rib, and that will free this whole flap from the structure.
Watching the ocean with you, baby, up with a slow motion crew. And we up in our clouds when people change, but not us. And we just chillin', kicking it, kissed by the sun. Could be soaked to the skin in the monsoon. I know she got the good vibes when seasons change, but we're the same. Even if I lost all my money, the zero runs deep, honey. And I don't need to speak a single word, you got me holding, holding. Even if my jokes aren't funny, my tongue tied up on it, and I don't need to speak a single word.
Alright, so basically what I did was I used my saw and I cut this portion of the rib flush with the aft end of that spar. Sawed it down until I got to that diagonal line, which is that line right there. We stick your blade in and kind of separate it. Alright, and once I did all that, for each rib I went in and because sometimes the even with the wax paper in between here, eventually some glue probably got stuck, and then so I'm actually just running my saw in between just to loosen all that up. And then I do this side over here, and then we will release the flap. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is basically sanding these ribs that are protruding out like that right here. I'm sanding this with a radius with this doll. This says 3/4 inch, but I don't have, this is the closest I'm gonna have to 3/4 inch right now, and it works. Basically what you're doing is just getting that contour for each rib, kind of mimic the front leading edge of your flap. All right. What else? Also, we cut 1/16 inch balsa. We cut it to about 1/4 inch width, and we kind of beveled it, well, tapered. So we tapered the end right here, and then we fit the those pieces in between the ribs, and it kind of gives this lip extra strength. Same thing on the other side. All right, so the instructions call for that. So if you bypass any instructions, that means you weren't really reading the instructions completely. Also, if you did not know, we're going to be using this is the drill guide for your hinge point. Alright, so you just place it in there like that, and you just stick your drill bit on the side of that and kind of, you know, drill it all the way through. not all the way through the other side of the flat, but through that block. So that's what that is. All right. Now this also doubles as your, when you were sanding the leading edge of the flat, it acts as your guide, so you can determine how much more you need to sand or take off on the front leading edge. So you just basically run this all the way down the leading edge of your flat to determine if you're all straight and everything is the same from one end to the other. Faster than I expected it to be. Thank you. That's all I can say. Stay tuned for part 7 of the Top Flite Cessna 182 build series, because we are going to start on the fuselage. Alright, so thank you once again. If you enjoy the content, the videos that I'm putting out, regardless of the way I talk or whatnot, the main thing is the build. If you like this type of content, you like how I'm doing the videos, please click that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, and if you are subscribed, I surely appreciate everything. Alright, please leave a comment in the video, and any of the videos that you watch. Leave a comment in regards to what you like, what you didn't like, what you want to see preferably, just things like that, just things that I can probably think of in the next video. Alright, so once again, thank you very much, and I will see you in part 7 of the Top Flite Cessna 182 build series. Shoo-shoo!